Good morning. Today is Tuesday, August the 25th, and the lesson that we are going to be working on today is lessons 13 and 14, characterization in Antigone. So the lesson that we are going to be completing today is kind of like a continuation of yesterday's lesson. So what we've been doing is we've been reading and summarizing, analyzing Antigone by Sophocles. So what we uncovered yesterday is we began reading excerpt 1 and we finished it. So we know that Antigone she is a very strong character at this point. She establishes herself as a strong character in the story because she is willing to defy the King Creon in order to bury her brother. We know that Antigone also asked her sister Ismene for her help, but Ismene refused because the king has declared that it is unlawful for anybody to try and bury this brother. So Antigone, she has decided that she is going to go on with her plan. And although Ismene won't help her, she promises to Antigone that she will not tell anyone of the plan that Antigone has. So that is where we ended on yesterday. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to continue reading Antigone. We're going to summarize the main points of the plot, and you're also going to finish your dialectical journal handout. So, in order to do this, you're going to need your copy of Antigone and your dialectical journal handout that we started on yesterday. So, what you will notice is this lesson is the same exact lesson that we did on yesterday, except we are reading different parts. So, in this video, what we're going to cover is we're going to go over excerpt 2. So, I will allow you to listen to excerpt 2, again, provide you with the model of what you're supposed to be doing on your dialectical journal. And then for section 3, you are going to do that section independently because it gives me the opportunity to see if you guys actually know what I'm expecting you to do from this assignment. So right now we're going to listen to excerpt 2, and I'm going to periodically stop and ask questions or kind of discuss what's going on during this section so that you guys are not confused. So right now you should have up in front of you this text access right here, and you should be looking at excerpt 2 from Antigone. Excerpt 2 begins with line 179. So right now I am going to play the audio version. And remember when we talked about it yesterday on our Google Meet, we talked about how the audio file and the actual text that you're looking at, some of the words differ. So pay attention to what is going on, the main points. Don't pay attention so much to the actual words lining up, but pay more attention to what is going on in the play at this point. So right now I am going to play excerpt 2.
Creon. Elders, the gods have righted once again our storm-tossed ship of state, now safe in port. But you, by special summons, I convened as my most trusted counselors. First, because I knew you loyal to Laius of old. Again, when Oedipus restored our state, both while he ruled and when his rule was o'er, ye still were constant to the royal line. Now that his 2 sons perished in one day, brother by brother murderously slain, by right of kinship to the princes dead, I claim and hold the throne and sovereignty. Yet 'tis no easy matter to discern the temper of a man, his mind and will, till he be proved by exercise of power. And in my case, if one who reigns supreme swerve from the highest policy, tongue-tied by fear of consequence, that man I hold and ever held the basest of the base. And I condemn the man who sets his friend before his country. For myself, I call to witness Zeus, whose eyes are everywhere. If I perceive some mischievous design to sap the state, I will not hold my tongue, nor would I reckon as my private friend a public foe, well knowing that the state is the good ship that holds our fortunes all. Farewell to friendship if she suffers wreck. Such is the policy by which I seek to serve the commons, and conformably I have proclaimed an edict as concerns the sons of Oedipus. Eteocles, who in his country's battle fought and fell, the foremost champion, duly bury him with all observances and ceremonies that are the guerdon of the heroic dead. But for the miscreant exile who returned minded in flames and ashes to blot out his father's city and his father's gods, and glut his vengeance with his kinsmen's blood, or drag them captive at his chariot wheels. For Polynices 'tis ordained that none shall give him burial, or make mourn for him, but leave his corpse unburied, to be meat for dogs and carrion crows, a ghastly sight. So am I purposed. Never by my will shall miscreants take precedence of true men, but all good patriots, alive or dead, shall be by me preferred and honored. Son of Menopsis.
So, what we see occurring here is that Creon is the king, but now this excerpt here kind of reveals the relationship between Creon, Eteocles, Polynices, Antigone, and Ismene. So, at this point, we figured out that Creon is actually their uncle, and he is now the king because Eteocles and Polynices, who are brothers, they were at war with one another, and in the war, both of them ended up dying. So what happens is Creon is accounting that Eteocles died a noble warrior. So he is going to have a proper burial. He's going to be buried. He's going to be put away nicely. However, Polynices, he views him as a rebel. So he is saying that he is not going to be buried and he is going to refuse anybody the opportunity to bury him. And indeed, if they do choose to bury him, what is going to happen is they are going to be killed themselves. So he is going to set watch over Polynices' body. He's going to have a guard watch them to make sure that no one tries to come and bury him. So now you can see kind of where the conflict is going to come in when Antigone says that she's going to bury him. So we're going to figure out as we continue to read how Antigone is going to get past the guards in an attempt to bury her brother. So for the assignment, what you're going to do, again, is much like we did on yesterday. What you're going to do is you are going to choose a quote from excerpt 2 and interpret that quote for me. So I am going to model this for you. So if I were you, I would have open 2 things. You will need your text open and you need your dialectical journal, which we started on yesterday. So this should not be hard for you. Again, this is just a continuation of what we did on yesterday. So open in front of you, you should have your text and you should have your dialectical journal. Remember, over here, you should have 3 boxes complete, one of which we did together as we were on our Google Meet on yesterday. So I am going to choose a quote, and then what I'm going to do is interpret that quote. So for me, the quote that I feel that I want to choose is, let me put my cursor on here so I can actually scroll up and down. So I think I want to choose the quote where Creon is saying that he is going to leave Polynices unburied and he's going to leave his body out for the dogs and the birds to eat. So that is the quote that I am going to interpret. So I'm just going to paste that over here, not there. I'm going to paste that over here into my document. Make sure I put my quotations around it because it is a quote. And then I am going to put my line numbers. So this would be, if I'm looking over here, uh, 234 and 235. 234, 235, and 236. So this is lines 234 through 236. Always remember to quote your lines. So now that I have found what quote I want to interpret, the quote says, "He'll be left unburied, his body there for birds and dogs to eat. A clear reminder of his shameful fate." So if I were to interpret that quote, I would say Creon, the king, is refusing to allow Polynices to be buried in the proper manner. Instead, he will leave his body to wither away naturally because he feels that Polynesians betrayed their country. And that is going to be my interpretation for that quote. So I'm going to decrease the font to make sure it all fits in that one little box nicely. So this is what you are doing for excerpt 2 and 3. So you are going to find your quote, just like we did on yesterday, and interpret that quote. So by the end of this lesson on today, your whole entire dialectical journal should be filled with quotes that you have chosen, and then in this column interpreted. So that is going to end the lesson for today. After you have finished your dialectical journal, what you should do is you should go back into your classroom, go under the tab for tomorrow's assignment, which would be lessons 13 and 14, and make sure that I'm moving things around, and make sure that you complete the exit ticket. So there is an exit ticket today. Make sure that you are completing the exit ticket that goes along with this activity today. So your exit ticket should look like this. Make sure you put your name and your email address and type your response to the exit ticket. Make sure you hit submit. Once you submit it, your responses will automatically go to me. So you do not have to try and take a screenshot, or you do not have to try to go in a Google Doc and type your answer and then send it to me that way. Once you type your answer in the box, it is going to send to me. So that is what you should be doing. You should finish your dialectical journal for excerpts 2 and 3 of Antigone, and then you should complete your exit ticket for today. That will conclude today's lesson. I hope you guys have a wonderful Wolverine Tuesday.